And good evening on this Monday night. Welcome to our University of Dubuque football show. Head coach Ryan Myeri will be joining me here in just a moment on this Monday evening after a Spartan victory, the first one of the season, 28-14 win over the Simpson College Storm to run the Spartans' record to 1-2 on the season and 1-0 in American Rivers Conference play. And it was a great day for that to happen on Senior Day as well, as the Spartans took down the Storm in that ARC opener on Saturday, a warm Saturday, but a good crowd on hand to come out and support the Spartans here at Chalmers Field and help them on to that victory. And bring in Coach Myeri right now. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on your first W as a head coach at the University of Dubuque. That's something you're always going to remember, something special. You thought maybe it'd come a little earlier, but tough non-conference schedule. But to get that W is something special for you and your program.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. And it was just awesome to experience that with our players and our coaching staff and, all the supporters that were here for, Senior Day. And it was a special day for sure.
No doubt about that. And, just watching the guys celebrate afterwards. And you kept the W flag to raise up there on the flagpole. That's kind of a fun tradition. And looks like that flag's getting a little worn, though.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We want it to be that way. So that means that we're putting it up a lot. So that was awesome to, share that with the guys and be a part of that tradition.
Yeah, who cares if it's in rags,
Yeah.
as long as it goes up. And, that's awesome. And I thought that was always cool that it was brought in. Coach Weifel brought that in, but it's great to continue that and, watch the team gather around. But let's talk about the game, break it down a little bit, and then, of course, you'll look ahead to this week's opponent, Coe College. We'll talk about them here in just a moment. And later on in our assistant spotlight, defensive line coach Rob Huberty going to be coming in. We'll have you talk about Coach Huberty in a little bit here. But as this game started, not exactly the way you wanted it to start out. 5 minutes in, Simpson had a short field. The wind was a bit of a factor with a punt and scored a touchdown. But great response by your team. Talk about the response with that nice drive to tie the ball game up.
Yeah, it's sometimes you get a little nervous in that situation as you go down, and then how are the guys going to respond? And we've had first two games that were, a little bit of a struggle, but it was really good response, from the offense to go out there and get some points back and even the game out. And outside of that, really that first touchdown, there was one big play. Our defense played lights out the rest of the way too, which was a great thing. But yeah, that first series, after that touchdown to go back down and get some points on the board, I think gave us some momentum and let the guys know, like, yeah, we're okay. Like, we can give up a score here, and we're going to get something back too.
On that drive, you were giving Simpson a lot of things to think about. I mean, you had a lot of different looks, and it ended with a tight end to tight end touchdown. The two tight ends showing a little love to each other.
Yeah.
It was a great, jump shot pass from Jamari Jenkins. And finding your other tight end, Benke, in the back of the end zone there.
So that's kind of fun to do, like when you have those opportunities to create that, and you get a senior to a senior, and then also tight end to tight end. So it's a pretty special moment. And Nathan got one back from last week, against Platteville, where he had a touchdown and it got taken off the board, and to get one early in the game to kind of get that back was a good feeling for everybody, and they were all pretty excited about it, especially like a little trickery.
That was the end of a 10-play, 63-yard drive to put the Spartans in the end zone for the first time. And then, you put up a 21-0 lead at the end of the first half. Rushing the ball was a big key in this ball game. You got your ground game going. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our offensive line. We did a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage, and they were able to adapt pretty quick. Sometimes when you're going fast-paced and you're doing some checks at the line, you can misfire a little bit. And we did have one really big miss on a 4th and short. But other than that, like, they did a really good job of communicating and playing their butts off. Like, they did a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. And Tyler Olnijek ran his butt off. And so it was a great day to see T.O., get the ground game going, and the guys in front of him, opening some holes. And that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, Tyler, looking at the stat sheet here, he had 111 yards rushing, 5.3 yards per carry, and you'll take that every time he touches the ball to move the chains and move it a little bit closer. But overall, run game, like you said, was solid, and the pass game, it was good to see Ben Gultic back there at getting a start, and boy, he really started out well, especially in that first half.
Yeah, he was pretty much game time decision. Like, we were going to go through warm-ups to see if he was ready to play, and he felt good enough. So we let him ride, especially with senior day, to give him that opportunity, and he started out pretty well, so we just kind of stuck with him through the game, and he played really well for not taking a lot of reps throughout the week. And again, in this offense that we're running, it's very rep driven. So when you're deficient in reps, sometimes it's hard to replicate that now when you go into a game when you don't have that. So he did a really good job with the game, and there's always plays that we want back, whether it be myself like making calls or as players, like sometimes we miss some things, but those are learning opportunities, and we still came away with the win, and we can learn from the win versus the first 2 weeks where we have to learn from the losses, and those are a little harder sometimes.
The second quarter, your offense scored on a nice 8-play, 80-yard drive, and then made it 21-0. You didn't score in the second half, but you only had the ball for 5 times. Simpson was able to keep that ball away, but we're going to talk a little bit about the defense. To their credit, they had the ball for 12 minutes of that third quarter, but weren't able to put any points on the board.
Yeah, and I put that more on us on the offensive side, and myself getting the guys to stay on the field and executing some assignments. And so we'll work really hard to get them coached up and keep ourselves on the field offensively. And, we did really well with that in the first half. And then in the second half, we didn't. Actually, we were getting the ball a bunch in the third quarter right around midfield, and we weren't doing anything with it. So we're on these short fields, not getting any scores, and then we're giving the ball back relatively quick. So that gave Simpson a lot more opportunities, gets the defense out on the field a lot longer, and that's usually not a great recipe for success when you're doing that.
Mm-hmm. I know you're really pleased with the way your defensive line played in this ball game. Created a lot of havoc. I think got after the quarterback a few times. I think he had 4, maybe 5 sacks, if I saw it right. And so, it was a great performance by your defensive line.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch them. They're a relentless group, and we had some guys playing in some new spots. So it was really fun to see some guys step up and, just take on and embrace their role and not really worry about like, well, I really want to play this position or that position. The guys just like, hey, wherever you put me at, I'm going to go play my best and give my best to the team. And we saw that, and that was evident on Saturday.
One of the guys' stats I'm looking at here, Quintrell Gary, one of your seniors, he had a couple of sacks, 3 solos, 2 assists, 5 total tackles, 2 tackles for losses. He was one of those guys causing havoc in that Simpson backfield.
He's the juice man. Like we were joking, like all through spring ball, and like he's the guy that everyone kind of looks to. He brings the energy all the time. He's like, even in warm-ups today when we're doing our warm-ups at the beginning of practice, like we have this little sprint part, and he's always 100 miles an hour. And, that was evident again on Saturday. He always brings the energy, and great leader, always flying around, being around the football, and just a great attitude, great personality.
You were up, like I said, 21-0 at halftime. The defense got your last touchdown of the game, came in the third quarter, as it was a great interception return for a touchdown, as INT by your defensive back.
Yeah, it was Channing Williams.
Yeah, Channing Williams.
Linebacker.
Actually, yeah.
So it was actually a really good play. Kind of tipped it up to himself and then took it to the house. I think they were joking with him on the sidelines, like they didn't think he was going to quite get to the end zone, but he finally made it there. And that was really cool to see because he had a whole army of family here, for senior day. So that was pretty cool, for him to be able to share that and have that experience. One, to share it with his teammates, but also with his family, to have a moment like that. That's pretty special.
So as you take a look at this ball game against Simpson as a whole, just general thoughts on your first win and areas that you are looking at improving after that victory.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our guys and their resiliency. There were moments in the game where it got a little stagnant offensively, but our defense never wavered. And our offense kept coming out and doing their best to execute their assignments. We had some better drives in this game than we've had in the previous two. We just didn't end up with points on those drives. So that's going to be a big emphasis for us to be able to finish now. So we're putting some drives together, but now we got to finish those drives. We also got to take care of the football better. We had a number of turnovers. I believe we had 4. We threw 3 interceptions, had a fumble. And we'll get those things cleaned up. We can learn from them. Some of them were our errors, and some of them were good plays by the defense. And, I had one bad call. We had the strip sack. I didn't protect our quarterback very well in that situation. I could have had a better call there, and that would have helped him out. And then we had some missed throws. So I'll get them coached up better in those scenarios. And, I'm really confident in those guys, and they come back ready to work. They're hungry, so that's really fun to see. Like, some guys, like, when they make those mistakes, they run from it, and we have a bunch of guys that they want to run to it and get it fixed. And so that's really exciting. So I'm really proud of that. Everyone was excited after the game, but they also realized, there was some opportunities to grow from it, and they weren't just like, oh, hey, this was the best game that we've ever played at the same time. So it was awesome to get a victory, but we know that there's a lot of meat left on the bone for us, so to speak. So
you talked about the turnovers, but one key stat that you always look at is points off of turnovers. You were the only one to score points off of turnovers, so I guess that's more kudos to your defense.
Yes.
Helping to defend after the offense had those interceptions.
Yeah, big testament to them. And then also we had a self-inflicted wound, which was interesting on defense. We had a 4th down stop, and then we got called for a penalty for being lined up offside. So that gave him a 1st down, and then we held them again and then blocked the field goal. And I believe that was Q Gary that did that as well. So, it was pretty cool to see. We don't want to make the mistakes, but to see them respond the right way and not just give up. Because a lot of times you'll see mistakes like that happen, and that will lead to points. And they found a way we found a way on defense to bow up and still make a play, multiple plays, which was awesome.
Simpson did score again in the 4th quarter, 7.5 minutes left to go, but really never threatened again after that. So final score 28-14 for the first American Rivers Conference victory. And I guess just final thoughts before we leave Simpson and get ready to talk about your next opponent.
Yeah, just can't state enough like how proud I am of our guys and our coaching staff. We got a lot of guys that are busting their butts. The family support that we've been getting, not just from like in the community, but also like parents, and then our wives at home and kids at home. They've done a good job of supporting us. They're at every game, and that's really cool to be able to have that shared experience with everyone. And I'm just really proud of everybody right now.
Spartan victory, number 1 of the season. The Spartans will try to make it a 2-game winning streak when they go on the road to Coe College this Saturday. We're going to talk about that with head coach Ryan Myeri. This is the University of Dubuque football show on this Monday night, and we'll come back to Chalmers Field in just a little bit. And we're back on this Monday evening here on the YouTube channel for the University of Dubuque. And we thank Coach Ryan Myeri for taking some time out to join us on a Monday night here again after the Spartans won 28-14 over Simpson. But now the Spartans look ahead to game number 2 of the American Rivers Conference schedule. Getting ready to go to Cedar Rapids this Saturday to take on the Coe College Cohawks. And I guess, Coach, before we talk about Coe, week 1 in the league is done, and there was a tight ball game between Wartburg and Simpson, which Wartburg just was able to eke it out in a low-scoring ball game, and then Buena Vista winning over Loris, and Co with a little trouble winning over Luther. So it was an interesting week for week number 1.
Yeah, it was it was a great week for us. And as far as the other opponents, like we didn't spend a lot of time on that. Our main focus has gone to Co. But yeah, there was some interesting scores to say the least without like going through and evaluating all of it. That's all I got to really say about that stuff. But it is interesting. I think a lot of guys were shocked by maybe some of the scores, and but in terms of like how teams played and stuff, like I don't really know a whole lot other than how Co did, and they really handled business.
They sure did. They put up 60-plus points in their win on the road at Luther. So, like you said, that is the next opponent, and Co College has some high aspirations for the season. Picked, I think, third in the American Rivers Conference in the preseason poll.
They might have been picked second.
Okay.
Them or Central. I can't remember exactly. I know it was Wartburg. I think it was Wartburg, Co, Central, and us.
Okay. But that gets your attention right there that they're receiving looks to be a national ranked team, and so Co College, just a lot of respect because they've built quite a program.
Oh yeah, Coach Staker, he's been there for quite a bit of time, and his father helped build that program. They've done a great job there. Great coaching staff. One of my good friends is their defensive coordinator. We used to work together at Central, and he's a great guy. Great family guy, and he gets his guys playing hard. So like their defense is one of the tops in the country. They have been for a number of years now. They do a great job of minimizing explosive plays. They're really good in the run game. They got 8 fifth-year seniors going to be starting. 2 of the other 11 are actual seniors, and they only got 1 underclassman in that group. And so there's a lot of experience there. They're relentless to the football. Really good, really sound in their schemes. Discipline in the way that they play. Offensively, you'll see some new faces on that side of the football. They'll have a new quarterback. One of their running backs that got hurt earlier in I think it was week 2 game against Eau Claire. I think he hurt his knee or something like that. So they've been rolling with their backup, but he's played a lot of snaps too. So he's not like a new face or anything. In a lot of ways, he actually might be more versatile than the other running back. They got some really good young wide receivers that are talented. One that's a transfer in. He played a little bit last year, return guy for him. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to contend with in all 3 phases of the game. Special teams related to with the Jaron Sanders kid, he can really run with the ball.
Offensively, their approach probably hasn't changed too much. What are you expecting when you see their offense on Saturday?
Yeah, their offense, I think they're a pretty balanced attack. I think in their perfect world, they're a balanced offense. Their running back had a big game in this past game. Actually, the first 2 of the 3 games, and then they threw the ball pretty well against Eau Claire. That game actually turned into a closer game than I thought it would. I think early on in the game, they kind of separated themselves, and then Eau Claire worked themselves back into the game. But offensively, they're pretty balanced in the way that they play. They've been that way for a number of years. They're very experienced up front on their offensive line. That's probably their strongest group, I think, on the offensive side of the ball. They do a really good job, and they got some experience there. So, if I had to guess, like they're going to try to get the run game going and then build off of that and help protect the quarterback a little bit and then the pass game. And which won't be much different for us. That's how we operated this past week too. Try to get the ground game going and then build off of that.
Defensively, are they going to be a team that tries to come after you a little bit with pressure like you saw from Simpson, or what are you going to see defensively?
Not to that extent. They'll bring pressures, but it's not going to be necessarily every single snap. And but they will bring some pressures. They have certain guys that they'd like to bring pressure with. So those are things that we got to be mindful of when we're in pass protection. Also, even in run game, to be able to handle some of those. They like to move a lot up front. So depending on what type of formations that you're in, like they're going to try to twist their guys up front and stem a little bit, move around, to make it difficult on the offensive lineman. They're going to try to isolate certain linemen with D linemen or with their linebacker to help their pass rush. So those are things that, we'll be mindful of and prepare for this week.
I know that through the course of the series, it's in favor of Co, 20-12. But over the last 12 years, it has been quite a rivalry, quite a game between the University of Dubuque and Coe College.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. The guys, I think, look at this as like their rivalry game. So they were even breaking down on that today, after practice, before practice. And, they've been focused on this, especially with how maybe things went last season. But this is a new year, so we can't leave our focus on that. We got to just take what we can learn from it and put it to practice this week and get ready for this season's game.
No doubt about that. As you get ready to take on the Coe College Cohawks, and injury-wise, did you feel like you came out okay on Saturday as you get ready to prepare for this week?
Yeah, we came out really well. We're at about 99% strength right now. So, our guys that kind of went into it limping a little bit feel better. They didn't re-aggravate anything in the game. So we should be really, really good going into this one.
Yeah, you got a chance to get some of those guys some reps that hadn't been out there. I'm thinking of Wade Sheets, one of them, and he, it's just going to take a little time to get him back in the flow. And the more weapons you can have, the more versatile you can become.
Yeah, definitely. And it takes some attention away from maybe other guys, and so it was good to be able to get him in the game. And now we can build off of that. So, it was good to just see him out there running. He looked pretty smooth. And, we're really excited about what he's going to bring to the offense now going forward once we got him back on the field. That was kind of the first step. We got back on the field. Now we're going to go make some plays.
Coe College Cohawks will be the opponent for the University of Dubuque Spartans. That is a 1 o'clock kickoff. Down at Coe, you'll be able to view it on the website udspartans.com. It won't be a broadcast originated from the University of Dubuque, so you'll have to view it through the Coe College. They'll have the link available on Coe College's website for you to watch it if you can't make the game to Cedar Rapids. But, Coach, any final thoughts as you get ready for game number 4 on the schedule here as you take on Coe College?
I'm just excited for another opportunity with our guys to keep taking another step forward. This is just another opportunity for our guys to do that. And regardless of who we're playing, we know that they're a great opponent. They're going to be coached really great, all those cliche things. But right now, again, our sole focus needs to be on us and cleaning up what we're doing. And if we keep doing that stuff, we have great potential.
Well, Coach, great talking to you tonight, and looking forward to seeing how the Spartans fare against Coe College. Again, congratulations on that first W of your Spartan head coaching career and the first victory of the season to get things rolling in the right direction. Like you said, after you get that first win, just feels like maybe the gates open a little bit more, get that monkey off your back. And after that W, I'm sure that's the way it felt.
Yeah, definitely it felt a lot like that. And, I think even for our players too, because you could feel – like we've talked about it in previous talks, is just like that tightness a little bit, and now it's just kind of like, all right, that one's out of the way. Let's get better.
All right, this is the University of Dubuque football show with head coach Ryan Myrie, and we'll come back in just a moment. And we are back on the University of Dubuque football show here with head coach Ryan Myrie. And Ryan's going to pass those headsets off here in just a moment. But our special guest after Coach Myrie exits here, our assistant spotlight is Rob Huberty. He's been with the Spartan program since 2018. But stayed on staff, and I know they're glad he did, as a defensive line coach and recruiting coordinator. And Coach Myers, just talk a little bit about what Coach Huberty brings to your staff and the program.
Well, it's just a blessing, to have some continuity for our guys. And, he's had great leadership here and experience. He's done a great job leading our defense, and he continues to do that with our defensive line and also with recruiting. Like, he's the spearhead of what lets our program continue to grow and develop, and he's been doing an outstanding job for us. He always brings a lot of energy and juice to practice and leading our guys. His wife Shauna, daughter Logan, they're great in our program. They've been very supportive. They do a good job taking care of the kids too. Like, they're always bringing in goodies and snacks and stuff. And
that's important.
Yeah, it's huge, especially when you're working with the D line. So they love their snacks, and it's just great to have that family in our program. And Coach Huberty's done an outstanding job, and we're fortunate that he chose, to stay with us and continue to work and develop our program. He's been A+. Wouldn't trade him for anybody.
Coach, I'll have you exit stage left and hand the headsets to Rob there, and we'll bring him on in over here to talk with us. We had Coach Huberty on the show in past programs, past seasons, so he's not a unfamiliar face to us. And Coach Huberty, thanks for jumping on the program here tonight and coming over to talk about this 2024 football season a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Well, let's visit a little bit about your new role, I guess, if you will, defensive line head coach, and you're coming off of a great defensive line performance, so I'm sure you're pretty pleased with the direction things are headed here this season.
Yeah, the guys did really well. They take coaching, they take a lot of technique stuff very seriously, and you saw that obviously on Saturday, getting a bunch of sacks, TFLs, but also some other plays, hits on the quarterback, changing the running back's direction on some of the run game stuff, allowing backers to fit, safeties to fit. So they understand their role, understand we got to stop the run first. That's the biggest part of it. If we can limit an offense to be kind of one-sided and force them to throw, that kind of suits us in our favor. We're pretty good pass rushers. So
I know on the past staffs you were a linebackers coach. What's the big transition to being a defensive line coach? Much of a change in things that you have to do?
No, not too much of a change. The biggest part is just getting those guys up front to understand how they impact the other levels as well. So linebackers kind of got to know what's happening in front of them, what's happening behind them. D-line, those guys typically just worry about themselves, but I'm really trying to teach them, hey, what you do up front impacts those backers, those safeties and run fits, things like that. So they're kind of expanding their knowledge a little bit of the game, understanding that they're not just kind of the low man on the totem pole type of deal.
We bragged on a few of those guys' performance on Saturday, but why don't you talk a little bit about your group on the defensive line this season?
Yeah, I'll start with Quintrell Gary. He had quite a series towards the back end of the game. He gets a sack on a third down play. I think that was the one you guys were talking about earlier where we had the penalty, extended a drive. We get him to third down pretty close to the goal line. He gets a sack off of that, and then the very next play they go for the field goal block. He sneaks through, blocks it, and we had an opportunity to try and scoop and score a little bit. Didn't quite handle it, but that's okay. Still took points away from him and didn't let him get on the board. So he's done really well. Really all those guys have done really good. I got about 7 or 8 that really rotate really deep in there. Josiah Perez, Parker Novinsky, Nick Thalker, those are the other starters, and they've all had tackles for losses throughout the season, a couple sacks in the game. And even some of our backup guys. Keon Dunlap's played a lot of football for us on the interior. He got a sack in the game. So like Coach said, I bring them all goodie bags the next time that we meet, so they get bags of candy for sacks, TFLs, et cetera, all that kind of fun stuff.
That is great incentive, and I can understand why they perform for you, Coach, with that being given. But as you think about it, you talked about a lot of guys, and it's so important to have depth, and really sounds like you're blessed to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when you've got an opportunity to play 8, 9, 10 guys in a game, and you're not worried about a huge drop-off, that just makes it so much nicer, because then you can keep guys fresh. Guys aren't going out there for 70, 80 snaps, nothing crazy like that. They're out there for 35 to 40. That keeps them fresher. Allows us to attack offensive lines a little bit more, too, because we're sending waves of fresh people at them every couple of snaps.
Let's talk about your other role with the Spartan program as a recruiting coordinator. Very important, obviously, and so just talk about that role a little bit and how you go about it.
Yeah, so I've worked hand in hand with Coach Myrie on what he wants his vision to be with the type of people that we're bringing in. So really having a hard Midwest focus on Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota have kind of been the main areas there, those states. So working on, obviously finding good people along with good football players. So we're making sure that we're doing, checks on those guys, making sure that they're people of good character. They're going to fit our culture, the culture that Coach wants. So it's a little tireless at times, but it's okay. Like it's kind of the lifeblood of college football, as you kind of know, and it's a job that's got to be done, and I'm happy to do it.
And I guess the layers have really changed, with the transfer portal and all of this. So it's really made things even more interesting, if you will.
Oh yeah, there's so many more different avenues now for guys to find the place that's right for them. And so whenever I'm talking, whether it's a high school kid or a potential transfer kid, it's just, hey, you got to do what's best for you. We'll put our best foot forward with the University of Dubuque football, with our facilities and our staff and our program and everything like that, of course. But at the end of the day, we just want guys to make the decision that's best for them. We'll do what we can to get those guys in education. That's the biggest thing, get their degree, set themselves up for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And we've done that here in our program. If a guy has finished his eligibility with us, it's been pretty close to 95% or so guys have graduated. So we're very proud of that.
Coach Huberty, it's always good to talk with you and hook up with you. Anything else you want to leave with us about the 2024 season? Final thoughts.
It's just going to be exciting. Again, seeing Coach Myrie, he's a guy who's had success. I've gone head-to-head with him, so it was exciting when he got hired on to kind of be able to pick his brain a little bit and see how our matchups went in his favor from time to time and how I could get better as a coach. So that was the exciting part there, and the guys are really bought into the messages that he brings to them. So it's been exciting to see that growth and development in the players too.
Coach Huberty, best of luck to you during the rest of the 2024 season. And of course, the Spartans that you coach up, and we'll look forward to watching you on game day. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Rob Huberty, the defensive line coach and recruiting coordinator, joining us this evening on the University of Dubuque Football Show. And that's going to do it for this Monday night. Be sure to either head to Cedar Rapids and follow the Spartans and cheer them on there as they take on Coe College at 1 o'clock kickoff this Saturday, or you can view it here at udspartans.com. And we'll be back here next Monday night to talk with Coach Myrie and break down that Coe game and then look ahead to homecoming here on the University of Dubuque campus. So thanks for tuning in this evening from Chalmers Field on the campus of the University of Dubuque. I'm Tim Larry for the UD Football Show with Coach Ryan Myrie.